last time you guys were here, you had defeated the Elven Tomb, where you found a frost druid that had set up residence in there, that was doing the dirty work of her goddess, Ariel, the god of winter's fury, and was awakening creatures and bending them to serve Ariel's will. You found her out, defeated her, and defeated her moose that had been terrorizing the citizens of Lonelywood. You there found a magic mirror that you were able to ask questions of, and it gave you some inclinations of answering questions. And I don't have all those in front of me, but I recited them last time. You were told essentially about the Black Cabin. You were given images of some sort of construction under a glacier. You were given images of East Haven and the bar where this all began at. You were given images of Macradius, the gnome tinkerer that had sequestered himself into the cabin to try to create a machine to end the everlasting winter, amongst other things. You also had visions of, I think there's probably others, but I can't recall them offhand. You guys traveled to the cabin that Copper Knobberknocker had told Hawkins' character, Cadillac Granite-Guts, about, and told him to check on old Macradius if he had a chance. Upon arriving to the Black Cabin, you found it abandoned, burned out, and signs of fire and explosion having happened there. Exploring the cabin, some of you took a tumble to near death, falling through a collapsible floor down into the ravine below, rescued by a flying toot. And then you did discover the secret of Macradius's contraption that he had invented, and were able to repair it and get it into working order, which was able to release the then vanquished and destroyed spirit of Leonard that was vaporized by the thing, bringing him back from the astral plane, back into the prime material plane and back to life, breathing life back into him, as you were granted reprieve by Macradius's god. After that, these things that could only be described as cold light walkers that you recognize were the once animated corpses of the people that had been sacrificed to the evil goddess. They surrounded the cabin, breathing this horrible cold air upon you, and besieged you along with ice methods. You did battle with them and managed to defeat those undead spirits of the sacrificed 10 towners, and you are now there in the Black Cabin. And that is where we find ourselves now. I'll show you first the map so you have an idea of where you're at before I take you to the Black Cabin. And we probably ought to set the scene just a bit. Okay. You find yourselves way up here, at where the little D&D logo is at, in the Black Cabin itself. I don't know why I have a fire going in here, because there is certainly no fire. It is cold, and the wind is whipping outside. But strangely, after you used this device, the weather turned warmer. The wind died down and became much more peaceful. And the weather has somewhat cleared outside. This was after, I guess it was your character, Cantrell, Harkus, that used the device, which was called. I don't want to tell you wrong here. The Summer Star is what Macradius' spirit called it. And that's where we find ourselves now. I'm going to take you to the cabin. And then I'm going to ask you, what are we all doing? You have your mummy, Sudnar, the spirit of the undead elf that is traveling along with you. And yeah, you've just defeated these horrible cold things. There's some birds and things squawking in the distance. But what are you guys wanting to do after you've discovered this?
This up here like a hallway into something, or is it just like the way out?
There are a couple of other rooms here that you haven't necessarily been into.
Okay. Can I open this door and
Yeah. Which one? The one to the north or the south here?
let's open this one to the south.
In that room, there are wooden planks that have been nailed over a broken window. Furnishings include a saggy double bed and a bookcase containing some folded clothes, a few blankets, blank sheets of parchment, and a set of calligrapher's supplies. There's a soot-stained hearth, and there is a scroll lying amid the ashes in there.
All right. Can I grab the scroll and see what, and then
The scroll seems to be a letter. It's stained with soot, but remains somewhat intact. It looks like it's never been opened. It's still sealed with wax.
okay. I'll grab that, and then I would also like to grab the parchment and the calligrapher's tools. And then is it just clothes, or did you say it was blankets?
There's a couple of blankets.
All right. Can I grab the couple of blankets as well? And
Yeah, they're kind of tattery and kind of not great shape, but you got them.
warmer than nothing.
Warmer than nothing. That's right.
And then
As opposed to all the furs you're currently wearing.
exactly. I mean, you can never be too warm. You can never be too warm.
Tattered blanket versus Yeti fur.
Hey, I mean, you never know when my mummy might need rewrapped. So
that is true. That is true indeed.
and then does it look like if I sort of poke around this bed, is there anything of interest like under the bed, or pull the sheets back and see if there's anything?
Yeah, as you sort of toss the bed, you don't find anything really of that much interest there.
Okay. And this sheet looks terrible. I don't want it.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to take the calligrapher's.
You got calligrapher's tools and an unopened scroll that's still sealed with wax. That's somewhat sooted.
And I'll let somebody else figure out what they want to do, but I'm going to crack open the scroll and take a look at it while somebody's doing something else.
There is a letter written there. It is what languages do you? Oh no, it's written in common. Never mind. It even says written in common. Scroll is stained with soot but remains intact. It says, and I'll read to you, Macradius. I've had enough of this damned relentless cold. I feel it creep into my bones, my head, my heart. I'm heading back to Tin Towns for a decent meal and a warm bed. I fear this endless winter has numbed your mind, and any tinkerer worth their chains can see that the summer star is a fool's errand. Maybe without me here to incessantly complain to you, you'll finally snap out of your obsession. If you truly insist on dedicating your remaining days to this doomed project, I might suggest that 3 is better than 2. I considered telling you before, but you were particularly rude about the dinner I made last night. May the light of the Morning Lord protect you. Copper Knobberknocker.
Okay, so I'll show everybody else my newfound parchment. And
Yeah. It's basically a letter from Copper Knobberknocker saying he's out of here. He's done with it.
he was leaving. And then I'm gonna go in this room up wherever is this a room? I'm gonna go up here.
Okay. Yeah, let me just get to the
I'm just going to explore. I don't know what anybody else is doing. I'm just gonna walk around the house.
Yeah, as you're walking around the
didn't
house.
die, so I'm gonna go start.
Yeah, in that room, there's tattered gray curtains that sort of are billowing and flapping in the wind, and there is a snow-covered. There's a snow bed covering much of the surrounding floor. There is a bed in there that is covered by snow. You don't see much of interest in this room.
Okay. Seems cold. I'm leaving.
Yep. That's all you see down that hall.
Okay.
There are 2 other rooms.
Anybody want to go exploring rooms?
It's up to you guys.
Yeah,
I do. I'm gonna go
I want to
explore.
ensure that it's explored. I don't care if I'm the one exploring it, as long as somebody is scratching that complete the map itch.
All right, Harkus, you open the door there, and in this room, as you enter, the floor is creak beneath your footsteps, but seem to hold. There's a fireplace and 2 empty bookcases tacked to the walls, and strewn across the floor are frost-covered blueprints. Face down on the floor next to one of the blueprints is a tiny little man that is made of clay.
Oh, I'm going to take the little man of clay.
Okay.
I'm just going to look at him and see what it looks like. See what this is.
Make me an intelligence check.
Okay.
Or Arcana check. If you have Arcana, you can use Arcana.
I'm not sure which one of these is going to be better. Probably neither one. So, yikes!
What'd you get?
It was a 1.
You don't have a damn clue.
All right, let me restart this and see.
I don't know. It's probably my roll 20. I trust your rolls.
No, I'm just gonna. It didn't roll into it, so I'm just gonna reopen it and see.
Okay. Yeah, there's
Reload.
blueprints all over the wall, and there's this little guy, little clay figure that you grabbed in, but you don't know what it is.
Okay. Still not working. I had problems with this before.
It did that to me last time.
Yeah, it did it to me last time too, and I don't know. I ended up having to reinstall it last time.
Oh, that sucks. I don't know.
I think I fixed it by clicking the Beyond 20 button in D&D Beyond, like to the right of my name on my character sheet. Yours may look different.
Okay. We'll see.
Anyhow.
Oh, there we go. It says it should work now, so. There we go. Okay.
Great. Okay, and there is one other door over here that's in the portion of the cabin that is sort of dangling over the ledge.
It seems like somebody light should go and do that one.
That's why I went in the middle one.
Yeah.
I'm like, let me check out the blueprints and stuff.
Let me. Can I send my dead mummy in there?
You're gonna send the mummy over there,
who basically shouldn't weigh very much at all.
As you wish, master.
He should basically weigh. I don't have sight for him, so I don't know what it looks like.
Are you just wanting him to shout back what he sees? Yes.
Go ahead. Just tell me what you find.
He as he steps in there, he leans back and he goes, "It is wide, master."
Ooh. And I'm going to rapidly dig through my pouch and see if I can find something that might hold some wine.
As you approach over there, roll me a quick dexterity check.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
The floors under your feet, but they don't do anything else. And as you get closer to that area, the scent of wine just fills that room. It smells like sweet berry summer wine.
Okay, well, I have a water skin, so I'm going to toss it to Sonar and have him fill up my water skin with some of the sweet smelling wine.
As you do this, Sonar looks over at you and he says, "The wine is frozen, master."
All the more delicious. Put it in the water skin.
It is solid, master.
Ice doesn't pour.
Jeff, is it solid since we have controlled the weather here?
You warmed it up a few degrees. It went from bitterly cold.
It'll take a minute to melt.
So how big is this cask? And how big is this cask? And
there are multiple casks. They're like cask size.
Can Leonard use his circle of warmth to defrost my wine for me?
That's up to Leonard.
Sure.
Does anybody have a heating spell or anything like that?
I got a firebolt cantrip.
I got a lot of
I guess you could. Okay. So are you just going to like put some wine into your bender stash? I'm imagining that you have like a compartment like Bender. Future, just open up and.
I think he probably does.
Okay. So the wine is frozen. Your thing maintains the temperature at what? How many degrees?
95 degrees.
Within 15 feet of you or something?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, it'll probably take it an hour or so to like fully melt. But yeah, as you get close to it, it starts dripping. Sonar holds the water skin up to the drips that's coming off of the block of frozen wine.
He's earning his keep.
He is. I mean,
I guess if you took a rest sitting here, you'd probably fill up a water skin after a rest. Or you're gonna take a long rest and literally just have Sonar stand there and hold the water skin underneath the dripping wine until it is all melted.
What did he do during the long rest?
Doesn't he have like a, what does he have?
A rotting fist.
Rotting fist. This is terrible. I give him like a dagger to chip away at it a little bit. Just break me off a piece of wine.
Yes, as it turns out, Sonar has he's got a fire sword that he can just pull out and stab. And no, he does not.
That's fantastic. Well done.
No, he does not. And then a dragon appears and breathes fire all over you. The wine is melted.
Blows up. All right, this is taking too long, Sonar. Let's go.
Yes, master.
And I'm just going to drink the little bit of wine that he did get into the water skin.
So okay, this is what that looks like. You open it up and you're like,
licking it like a salt lick.
I'm testing to see if it's worth a rest and him filling up the rest.
It's vinegar.
As you touch it, as your tongue touches the wine, your pupils dilate and you just. It is. It is delicious.
Do I feel invigorated as if I have taken a long rest, perhaps?
No. You feel invigorated as if you tasted a really tasty wine.
All right, well.
Okay. Skipping forward, are you guys resting here or are you heading out to somewhere else? I'm going to bring you back to the map so you can decide.
I could use a rest at some point in time.
I'm good. I just died and got resurrected to full health. So I'm with you fellers.
You're welcome.
I am not feeling good at all. So
me neither.
A long rest would not be remiss for me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sickly.
Same, and it's warm.
Yeah, but are we going to be able to benefit from a long rest? Because I think we just got up, did this, and yeah.
I mean, you can take a long rest anytime you want to take a long rest. That's up to you guys. I'm not gonna strip your ability to like take a nap and rest for 8 hours. It is not nighttime, I'll tell you that. It is probably about 1 o'clock in the afternoon now. It gets dark here early. If what you guys decide is we're just going to make camp here and spend the night here, then we'll just begin the long rest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mean, I think may as well.
Okay. Are you setting watches? Are you climbing into tiny hut? Or are you just prepping up and using the cabin?
I mean,
guess
if we're staying here all night, I'm not going to cast the hut until like close to dark.
Okay.
Because I assume we're going to stay here till morning. We're not going to leave in the middle of the night, and I'd rather be safe at night than.
You have about 4 hours until dark. It's going to get dark about 4 or 5 o'clock, maybe a little earlier than that. Probably like, actually really probably like 3 o'clock. So say you got like 2 hours before dark, because it gets dark at like 3 p.m. Is anybody going to do anything that requires the daylight, since you're planning to just stay here in those 2 hours? Is anybody like, I'm gonna go hunting, or is anybody doing anything? We're just gonna book it down. Going once, going twice.
Wasn't there a fireplace in here?
There are a couple of fireplaces.
I'll break apart some of the furniture around and load it into the fireplaces so that we can have a fire at night in addition to whatever else we're going to do for warmth.
Okay, you have a tinderbox, I assume.
Yep.
Okay, then no need to roll for it then. You're easily able to get a fire going in the fireplace. So you got a nice warm fire going in the fireplace. And it is dark time now. So the sun is set. It's about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but it's getting dark. And darker, darker, darker. It is officially evening time. You're within your 8-hour rest window. You casting Tiny Hut at this point?
I will.
Okay, Tiny Hut. The tiniest of huts is cast. And is everybody getting in the tiny hut, or is anybody doing anything different?
Get in the tiny hut and then watch outside.
And then I'm gonna let my elf zombie keep watch for us.
Okay. All right. After about a few hours or so into the watch, your elf zombie who's standing outside, is anybody awake, or y'all all just sleeping since you've got this the mummy keeping watch?
Leonard is just staring into space like always.
Okay.
Inside the tiny hut, staring out.
Okay. So yeah, you can't see this, but since you're inside of the thing, but coming back, the mummy comes back and says, "There is a bipedal creature walking in the woods near the cabin, master."
Is it humanoid or animal?
It looks and it goes, both.
Does it look like the owlbear you saw the last time?
No, master.
Does it look like it's threatening?
It approaches.
Okay.
Leonard continues to watch the door.
Okay. Is there anybody going out or anything?
I think I'll let everybody know. I'll kind of rouse everyone else and
Yeah,
tell
your
them
mummy
what Sonar has
mummy
seen.
has, yeah, he told you that a bipedal creature that seems both animal and humanoid approacheth. Okay. Anybody go outside or do anything different?
I'm just gonna try and listen very, very closely.
You, as you're listening very closely, you can hear the sounds of heavy footsteps on snow and breaking twigs in the outside area, and it comes close. Seems to encircle the cabin area a few times, paying attention to the cabin, but then seems to move away. and leaves.
Okay.
And-
Good job, Sonar. Please continue your watch.
It seemed to be whatever it was, seemed to be walking around the area and investigating, and has since left. You were quiet and didn't move, and it's gone. The rest of the night proceeds without vent. And everybody's got a long rest.
Yay.
The next morning has arrived, and you are long rested.
Awesome.
All right. So it's the next morning. Long rest has been taken. You guys are way up here in the cabin at the Black Diamond here, and you've heard a lot of things. You've been told a lot of. You've had some visions. You've heard some rumors. You've got lots of different ways you could sort of proceed. I'll let you guys as a group decide what's next. So morning has come. Tiny hut is dispelled. The weather, unfortunately, has reverted back to its horribleness. So it's now like the wind and cold are just oppressive again as you wake up.
Jeff, do I know anything, or do we know collectively anything about the glacier we saw? Like, is there a huge glacier?
Yes. So
North?
or you're on the map screen right now.
Yeah.
Yep. So all of this out here, this thing out here, would be known to most of the people in the 10 towns. It is known as the Regid Glacier, named after the Regid barbarians that live in that area. So all of this thing out here is a giant northern glacier.
Okay, and
it is, 50 or so miles or further from where you're at currently.
so it's not at all near the towns. So it's one of those things we know about.
Yeah, and you don't even know, like, you had visions of a crack opening up in the glacier, but like, you don't know how to crack open a glacier. You don't know where. You might need to talk to somebody who might know more than you.
Yeah, that's sort of what I'm thinking. And when we asked where we needed to go next, it showed us the taverns in East Haven.
That was one of the things you received visions of. I am sorry I did not save the sheet where I wrote down all the things that you were told. Here, let me tell you. Actually, I found it. Where to go from here? This is what you asked. Where should we go from here? And you found yourself flying over lake and land and glacier, and you found yourself in a city and then a tavern somewhat familiar, and you recognized it to be the White Lady of East Haven and somewhat of the Wet Trout of East Haven. And then that disappeared, and then you found yourself in the wilderness on a basically flying above everything, and you found yourself next to the body of a frozen solid tiefling woman, clutching her knees and frozen solid. And then you saw a giant mountain and the peak of the mountain, and then something shining at the peak of the mountain. And then you found yourself in the bottom of a ravine with a stoic castle at the top of it, overlooking everything with a foreboding look. And then you saw yourself in a village town with a dragonborn man that sort of looked around fretfully. And those are the things that you saw: the dreadful overlooking fortress overlooking a ravine. The only place that you really recognized exactly where it was you saw the peak of the mountain, and there's only one giant mountain around here, and you recognize that. And then you recognize the tavern in East Haven where you'd been before. Now, you have been told about other quests and things that you've learned about. You have learned that in the city of Caer Konig, that there's been mysterious invisible invaders that have been like sneaking around town, and things have gone missing, and you heard rumors about that. You also remember that the young man named Garrett Valerin, I think it was Garrett Valerin, who led a company to climb the mountains, set out from Caer Konig, and his partner had asked you to find him. It was the one with the missing dog in Targos, where you'd found the dog, and he wouldn't let you take the dog with him, so you just like abandoned them to the mountain and their fate. You also knew about missing fishermen from East Haven, and you learned about the young man that ran off with the strange cultists bearing the weird crystal amulets that had run away to one of Caer Dinival or Caer Konig, because you were told that he ran off towards their castle, and those are the only two places that had a castle. And you might assume that maybe the keep that you had seen in your visions might be one of those castles, potentially. So yeah, those are the things that you sort of know, if that helps.
Yes. And then we've got the signal from Yatara's trippy.
Yes, and in fact, Yatara, you actually get that again. You're getting it. It's in the back of your mind. You still are hearing it, and you hear a bing, 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 and it's pointing due south to you. You can't tell exactly where, but it's like down here somewhere. Maybe I did tell you where it was. Yeah, I did.
Pretty far away. Yeah.
Right here. This thing, that black diamond right there. Yeah, and pinging going south, and you can focus on where it's at, and it's like in your mind, and you hear the same thing repeated over and over again, and you can tell that it's not in common. It is in a language that you don't know, Yatara, but because you have this like psychic connection, you understand it. And it's saying the same thing over and over again. Not alloyed down. Crew intact, ship damaged. Bring psi crystal. Like over and over and over again. Yeah, so you know that. What does the party want to do? I'm gonna sort of go around the horn and see what everybody wants to do. What does Granite Guts want to do?
Yatara has told us about this vision, I guess. This feeling, this voice, right?
Yeah, this signal that he's picking up. Has Yatara told everybody? Or does Yatara think he's going crazy?
Still from time to time ask people if they hear that.
And everybody's like, nope. And then I think they're like, you did bond with the skull crystal.
It's like, yeah, I didn't hear that either.
No, but do you hear that?
Yeah, me neither.
So I ask, can you repeat what you hear? Can you tell us what you hear exactly?
Exactly. Okay. Yeah, Yatara, from memory, tell me exactly what you hear. No,
or like what are you hearing right now?
Hang on. I'll tell you exactly what it says. Because it is a lie, and let me just turn the page because I don't remember it. It says, and I quote, in a language that Yatara doesn't understand but can somehow understand. It says, "Not alloyed down. Emergency protocols enabled. Crew safe, but vessel imperiled. Psi crystal needed. Come at once."
I literally stop in my tracks because I was just sort of walking along, and then I turn and look at Yatara, And I just say in a flabbergasted tone, calendar of the space people. Dugan's hole. He knew.
That is what that guy said. And some people think it's a space calendar. Yatara knows that it's a circle to summon a giant demon. He got that from a book. Yatara's picked up a lot of books, so Yatara knows that it's not a space calendar. Yatara does know that it is a demon's, that it is a prison for a demon.
It's
locked
all
there.
Connected.
Does Yatara just like shake his head and be like, no?
Yeah. I mean, it would be fun to go explore because then we could take a detour by Dugan's Hole.
You can always see what's happening at the Dugan's Hole.
The old friends.
Well, I
pick
think
up
this
our
is
ringer.
What does Leonard and Harkus and Ordella want to do? And two.
Leonard very interested in this signal for help when he hears mention of a ship. He's in.
Harkus as well.
Okay.
Quite curious as long as we keep our distance and we're prepared.
Yeah, Toot's interested, but he thinks that there are a lot of places in between that we would pass, and we have multiple reasons to go to East Haven. So he will express as much that, you know, we have a bounty to pick up, and then we're told to see someone there, and that's in the same general direction that
So
we'll do it on the way.
Tara is mentioning.
Toot suggests heading south, but heading through some of the like towns that you guys have been directed towards on the way towards Yatara's signal.
I think it's a good plan.
Sure.
Okay. Where specifically are you guys headed? Are you going to cross the wilderness and go north of the mountain towards Caer Konig and pick up the road heading towards East Haven? Or are you going to try to cross the Dwarven Vale and oh shoot, I accidentally hit the wrong button and closed Roll20. Whoopsies. I guess what route are you trying to accomplish? Because different routes will have different difficulties and like things you might encounter. So what way does the group want to head? You guys are sort of more or less familiar with the territory. I'll say this, you're gaining some fame or notoriety for the things that you've done. You vanquished the monster of Mer Dweldwin, and you rescued the beer of Good Mead and the fair citizens of Dugan's Hole that were besieged by the Winter Wolves. You've saved. You did eliminate the Beast of Lonelywood, and they offered you some reward for in the city of Lonelywood, and you did take care of the ice murderer, although
Keep that on a down low.
Maybe.
Maybe.
And you cleared out the gem mine that was besieged in the city of Termalaine, where the Termalaine stones were mined out that had been taken over by some sort of spirit and possessed kobolds. So you're gaining some popularity amongst the 10 towners. What way are you headed down, and what cities are you going through?
So I guess our broad question.
You can draw on the map if you want to.
Is Termalaine along the road through Bryn Shander to East Haven, or do we cross the tundra directly to East Haven?
And you have a couple of reasons to potentially go to Caer Konig and Caer Dinevel as well. And you don't know about this like city under the ice. Like, is there anybody that knows anything about that anywhere?
Yeah, I was hoping that somebody who knew something about either the mystery tiefling or the ancient city would be in East Haven at those taverns.
Okay, so let me give you something about the mystery tiefling. You recognize the mystery tiefling that was sort of frozen was on the mountain peak. Most expeditions that somewhere on the mountain.
Okay.
most expeditions that leave for the mountain leave out of the city that's closest to it, which would be Caer Konig, which is the closest to the mountain. So like if people are going to take an expedition up into the mountains, they usually are outfitted there. So if anybody would know anything about the tiefling that's frozen in your vision, it would be probably somebody there.
I mean, do we think that this is in any way connected to the person out of Targos that is also missing? The dog, I think, was Boy or something.
Yeah, Boy, and that was Garrett.
Yeah,
Garrett Valerian. And yeah, he left out of Caer Konig. Is the tiefling one of his party members? You don't know.
I mean, maybe we cut across and go to Caer Konig, but by way of Kelvin's Cairn. And just take a peek. Because that's going to get us to a road too that we can follow down.
Yeah, Leonard likes that plan.
Okay, what does the rest of the group say?
Sure.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Okay, are you guys going to try to climb the mountain, or are you on your way there, or are you going to go into Caer Konig first and talk to outfitters about how that's done and stuff before going over and trying to like climb a mountain?
I think we can figure it out. How hard could it be?
How hard
Famous last words
could it
in our
be?
next campaign. Now that everyone died.
I feel like that's probably exactly what's his name's husband said when he led that troop.
That is exactly what he said. He said, how hard could it
I
Can
mean,
it
I
be?
watched it on TV. It's close enough. I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express.
Have we been
Okay.
to Caer Konig before?
Nope,
No.
I didn't think so.
never been there.
It might be worth a visit anyway.
Okay.
Just to get the flavor of the place.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So you guys are heading out across the tundra. And who's leading you guys across this frozen tundra?
Let me just check my survival real quick. Okay, I'll try this time.
Okay, Leonard, you're the leader of the pack, as they say. Why don't you make us some survival checks? See how far we gotta go. 16. All right, Leonard, you're able to make it up to Kelvin's cairn as you sort of up around the backside. And as you do, you actually find, with a 16 survival, you manage to navigate pretty darn well. Around the mountain base, you're able to find what looks like the remains of some sort of like base camp or something. I need to put your characters there, so hold tight. Didn't know you were gonna go this way, so
See, we got to keep you on your toes.
look, God, I have no idea where you guys are going. Like, it is just insane what you can do. Yeah, you managed to navigate all the way around, and you find yourself to the remains of some sort of like campsite at the base of the mountain. Now, this scene doesn't look anything like this scene that I'm showing you here, because what you find are dogs that are still lashed to some things, and they are all dead.
That's because we waited like a month.
Yeah, all these dogs are no longer amongst the living. They're no longer here. In fact, there's only one body, maybe two bodies, and then the rest are just have broken their ropes and have gotten away. There is one, we'll just say one body actually. The others seem to have broken their ropes and gotten away, and the body of the dog that is remaining there has been partially eaten. These tents are collapsed in on themselves now, and they are have snow, mostly buried under snow, but you can still see the remains of said tenting. As you are here, roll me another survival check, Leonard, or whoever. Actually, anybody can, I suppose.
All right.
That is
24.
Are we all rolling?
No, you don't need to. Leonard credit.
Okay, never mind.
Because you definitely don't need to.
Thank you, Leonard.
Yeah.
There is an overturned sled there next to the body of the dog that is deceased there. And you can see what would be the most obvious route heading up the mountain, where said climbers probably would have, or a climber probably would have began their ascent from here.
I'm going to search the campsite now that I'm a sled dog expert, to see what I can figure out. Because I remember the guy's husband said that the dog wouldn't have left him if there was another option, like he would have been by his side.
Yep.
So trying to figure out, did he leave the campsite? Did he pack up his things? Was there sign of what can I tell has happened?
Yeah, okay, that's really good. Roll me investigation. It's a fairly low check because you've done a good job. 15 gets it easily. The camp has clearly been packed up. There is a base camp that is here, like somebody would have come back to it, but because these tents are more sturdy than just like a pop tent, basically. These are imagine like Everest base camp. It's more permanent. It's kind of left there and you would come back to it as you're descending. But they've clearly packed up and have left and moved rather than died here.
How many people does it look like this base camp could accommodate with its current setup?
With its current setup, probably a party of at least 8 or 9, maybe more, maybe a few less. And Leonard can see the obvious path up said mountain. Let me see if I have a picture for you. Don't know if I do. Yeah, I think I do. Hang on. With his check, Leonard is quite easily able to determine the path that would be up the mountain. So you have found, I guess, what would be... Ooh, hang on, sorry. Oh, crap. There you go. And you found what would be base camp. Here. Are you guys able to see all that? So Leonard's quite easily able to see the path heading upwards with his good survival check. That's kind of where you're at, is at a base camp area.
And one of the visions we got was the peak of this mountain.
Yep. When asked of what can we do to defeat.
Right. What can help us defeat or whatever that question was.
Indeed.
All right. I feel like if we're going to climb to the top, if we're going to chase that down while we're looking for this dude, we probably should figure out what we need, resupply, and maybe hire a guide.
There are definitely guides that are available for hire. You are fairly close to the city of Karakhanag at this point.
What does everybody else think?
What say the rest?
I can be persuaded off the mountain.
What say the rest of the party?
How far are we from Karakhanag?
Here, I'll pull up the map for you. As you're at this base camp area. There you go. From where you're at, you're now not... Since you have sort of navigated to try to climb the mountain, I had initially put you on the back side. I'm going to put you on the front side because you'd really be more like here. You're not far. You are about 5 miles. It's 5 miles over some rough terrain, but about 5 miles. Since you have already navigated from the Black Cabin to here, You've already moved about 10 miles. The day is growing a little bit late. So if you arrive in Caer Connacht, it will be dark by the time you arrive there, and you would need to make for there now. So it's either make camp here and prepare for an ascent, or head to Caer Connacht.
How long would it take?
To go 5 miles over rough terrain,
Mm-hmm.
couple hours. Few hours. Depends on if you encountered anything.
You said it'd be dark by the time we got there.
Yeah, because you've already gone 10 miles today over rough terrain.
Mm.
So we're talking about 15 miles traveling over tundra, Arctic frozen terrain.
Yeah, that's not quick.
Mm-mm.
Maybe we sleep on it and make a decision in the morning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You don't want to get up there and not see anything.
How are you making camp?
I mean, once it's close to nightfall, I will cast the hut.
It's just tiny hutting it, baby. You know what
Heck
the
yeah,
worst?
best tent ever.
You know what the worst part of tiny hut is? Is that it says that it's like toasty and comfortable in it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like negates all the weather.
There is no bad side to tiny hut.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, there is.
You climb into the tiny hut. Overnight, you watch 400 wolves slowly surround the tiny hut, one at a time.
Yeah, led by a wizard who casts Dispel Magic.
Yes, there is a direwolf. There is a direwolf with a wizard riding on him. They all surround you. He casts Dispel Magic. They all pounce.
I cast Zombie Elf.
They all pounce at once with pack tactics. Roll initiative. No.
I'm gonna die in a tiny hut.
Yeah, you guys climb into the tiny hut, and I need to roll something real quick.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Nothing happens. Evening passes, and the next day comes, and you're at the Kelvin's Cairn base camp. And not much happened. There's no obvious tracks, but Leonard can see with his good survival roll, can see the route upwards.
All right.
Are we heading up, or are you heading to
Caer Connacht for supplies?
Okay. Is that what everybody else wants to do?
That sounds like a plan to me.
Sure.
Okay. All right, Leonard, you still have about 5 miles over tundra to gain. So if you're leading the party, roll me survival to get us there. That will do it.
All right.
And boy, I don't know if I have a soundscape for Caer Connacht. Yes, I do. I guess I do. All right, you guys cross tundra and terrain until you eventually approach the city of Caer Connacht. Let me find it here. Apologize for having too many maps. Ah, there we are. It's a little loud. I'm going to turn that down in a second. Enjoy the soundscape for the moment.
Indeed.
Yeah, as we're approaching, I'll just mention something about invisible thieves and make it a point to pull my stuff closer to me.
Oh, that's right.
Just to remind everybody that, hey, maybe watch your things.
Jeff, we are now vigilant against your invisible thieves trap. I had forgotten.
Yeah, good memory. You heard that in one of the 5 taverns, I think, that were owned by the 5 brothers, where people were sort of passing rumors around. You had heard about that. And you find yourselves in the streets of Caer Connacht, which is a city on multiple levels. Let me give you the official book version, and then you can see what that looks like compared to my version, which is a little more colorful. This is what the entire city sort of looks like, built around this kind of outcropping in the lake, like Densmeer. And you guys are at the outer streets. There are a few people milling about. One of them, who is dressed in sort of town guard gear, greets you all and says, "Welcome to Caer Konig. State your business and what can we do for you?" I think I'm going to make it canon that Caer Konig speaks in a Minnesota accent. "Welcome to Caer Konig. Don't you know?"
Greetings and well met.
Aye, indeed. Yes, indeedy. Welcome to town. What can I do you for?
Can you direct us to an outfitter?
Oh, if you're looking for an outfitter, it would be FANFARE, I do believe, on the other side of town. FANFARE's Outfitters, which is currently being managed by Atnist Swift. I could point you the way. And he directs you up the higher ledge to the upper part of town, where you're directed upwards and eventually up to a building over here that has a sign on the outside of it called FANFARE's Outfitters. As you reach the top, you see there is a care here, actually, which is like a castle or a keep, but it is entirely ruined and entirely destroyed. So obviously, this is not the city that has the intact castle.
Yeah, not the one from the vision, or
not
if that vision was now.
If that vision was now, and if that vision was of one of these cares.
All right.
But you are able to approach FANFARE's provisions, and I assume you enter. And let's see if we have a soundscape for. We do. We have a soundscape for FANFARE's. All right. As you approach FANFARE's, I assume everybody is entering. As you enter, there's a few people milling about. There is a human man that is talking to another person, and they seem to be talking about potential expedition. And there is another man. You hear the sounds of dogs barking and baying, and there's another man, who. Let's see here. Who is kind of a younger looking man that's talking to another person in here that seems to be working at the establishment. It's fairly big.
So something that may affect the hospitality of the denizens of the store. To be clear, are the two light emitting elements on the front of this store, would those be windows or doors?
Windows.
Okay, we just smashed through the windows like a SWAT team.
No. You went in through the door. Yes. One thing you do notice. Well, no, you don't notice this. Okay. Yeah, there's a couple of men in here. They're talking to local residents. One of them looks older. One of them looks younger. The younger one is a dwarven man, and the older one is a human man. And what do you say as you enter? The dwarven man, as you enter, sort of looks over and says, "I'll be with you in a..." Wait, Minnesota accent. What does a Minnesota dwarf sound like? "I'll be with you in a minute, don't you know?"
You try.
"I don't know what the Minnesota dwarf would be like." And
Cadillac, are you going to explain to him?
Sure.
And as you sort of are coming up, he wanders over your way. He goes, Welcome, chaps, to FANFARE's Expeditions. I'm Jareth Farza. I help out Atnus around here. Wouldn't you say, Atnas? And Atnas sort of like leans over and goes, "I," and goes back to sort of discussing what looks like the finer points of like rope types or something with the person that he's discussing with. He says, "We outfit all sorts around here. What can we do for you, gentlemen and ladies?" As he sees Ordella. Around the shop, you see all kinds of provisions: backpacks, water skins, bottles, grappling hooks, rope, pickaxes, shovels. There are a few weapons. You hear the sound of dogs barking in sort of the in the distance and panting a bit.
This is a mighty impressive shop you have. We are interested in some mountain climbing gear.
Oh, indeed. We've got the best. Are you looking to climb the Care? Or
we were thinking about it. I'm not sure if we have the pockets for the best. What about the second best?
Oh, I like you. We'll set you up good and right. You'll need crampons for the crew and ropes. You'll need some pythons to hammer into the frozen ice, and you'll be needing hammers, probably some gloves. And I see you've got winter wear on yourselves, so that certainly is good. But you'll need ropes, pythons, hammers, and probably a couple of picks, climbing picks, which you can use to drive into the ice to pull yourself up. But do be careful. It's a dangerous business, as we all have learned here lately.
Oh, has there been news?
Well, I mean, there was a party not a 10-day ago that has... I guess it was more than a 10-day ago now. Seems like just yesterday. But there was a party that had set out from here, heading up the mountain. But alas, it seems that Kelvin's cairn has claimed another, as they have now returned.
Is it common for people not to return?
Alas, no. Most of the time we hear back from them. I mean, most people don't dare climb the mountain with no experience or with no guide, but most of us are well aware of Garrett Blaren. He was quite the adventurer and outdoorsman. He led many parties up the mountain, so whatever happened, it's an unfortunate business.
Does anything live on the mountain, or most of the dangers just the rocks?
I mean, nature's dangerous enough. Superstitious folks talk about the mountain monsters, you know, the yetis and whatnot, but ain't none seen a yeti in nigh on 100 year.
That would be an old yeti.
I suppose so. I think it's all just myths and legends, to be honest with you. But you know,
at that point, can I imitate the roar of a yeti?
Yeah, you sure can. And he steps back and goes, "Oh my stars, Merlin's beard, or whatever I would say. I don't know. I don't know what god I worship." And he says, what? To hear that noise coming from a bird person's mouth, I don't understand what that would be, but that's terrifying."
We killed one, and then I'll say in his voice, "Don't you know?"
You killed a yeti?
Don't
Really?
you know?
Oh, he looks over and says, "I don't know, but if you say you killed it, then ain't got nothing to worry about, I suppose. I mean, if you are yeti killers, then I don't know what else to say. I don't think you've got much to worry about then."
So you mentioned guides. Do you have a guide available that we could have tag along with us?
Best guide in these parts is Atnas, and I do a little bit of guiding myself, you know, for the right coin. But you're looking up the mountain, Artemis, so be the man to take you there. And at this point, the slightly older chap comes over. You notice that he is older, but still in quite good shape. Not like disabled by any means. And he comes over at you all and says, Jareth, yes, indeed, we can offer guided expeditions if you all are interested. We do charge a fee. If you're looking to climb all the way to the summit, well, that be a much more challenging endeavor. I mean, only the bravest adventurers dare make the peak of the summit. But if you plan to climb, we could set up an expedition. Let's say, well, we charge per the day, and I dare say the rate's not cheap. It will take about 2 to 3 days to climb up to the summit, and the charge is about 50 gold per day. Depends on the weather, of course. Weather delays will increase the charge each day that we are delayed. I have but one set of rules. When I am guiding, I make the say on when we climb and when we don't. If the weather doesn't permit, we do not go. There's no arguing, no persuading, no cajoling. If we have to sit for a week collecting 50 gold a day, we sit for a week. And I don't want to hear anything about me running up the prices on you. We go when it is safe to go. And I guarantee that you can return.
Well, my dear sir, you make a very persuasive case. We will keep our counsel on our plans and then let you know should we decide to enlist your services.
Of course, the supplies are extra. The consumables will have to be purchased as well, in addition to the guiding fees. I can give you a list of what you need.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's you tell me what I need to get us there and back.
Aye.
Safely.
He says each person will need a pair of crampons. If you're aware of what crampons are, they are spikes that you may attach to your boots in order to better dig into the ice. You will need gloves, fitted leather gloves, with warm padding on the inside to keep your hands warm, lest frostbite take your fingers.
As he's talking, Leonard is putting each of these things on, like he's gearing up.
Yeah.
As we're going through the list.
You will need each party member will need at least 2 separate lengths of rope. It needs to be of climbing quality, not just any hempen rope will do, lest you test your life to a rope that has been frozen solid on your adventuring waist. Does anybody have a rope on them?
I think
I've got
I
it
do.
in my adventuring pack.
Yeah, so he actually walks over to, because you'd hang the rope off of your pack, to one of you that has the rope, and he sort of like taps it with like a stick that he has. It says, "This will break underneath your weight as you tumble down into the ravine, snapping, and you'll fall to your death."
That sounds great. Yeah.
Yes, you'll need proper rope. He says each party member will need a pickaxe. They can drive into the ice and snow. And each party member will need pythons that you could drive in to be able to cling to the mountainside as you climb. It would be best to take a team of dogs up to the mountain.
Too late.
Did you have a team of dogs?
Need they be alive?
Where were they? You will all recall that you left your dogs in Lonelywood.
No, they're stable.
Well, if you don't need dogs, then I suppose the problem is you'll have to carry all your supplies, and you're going to need food provisions for 3 days. The ability to make fire, so you'll need the general camp supplies. You'll need tinderboxes, etc. I see you're outfitted with most of that stuff. And then a mountain guide. I think that should be all that you will need. If you intend on any other supplies you need, some people like to, take sketches and such.
So what will these bundles cost per person?
He says, well, let me go over to the register here. Starts ringing it up. It's going to run about 15 gold per person for the supplies.
Let's see.
Dude hands over his 15.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah,
hand
I
over
can do
15
50.
as well.
I got 15.
All right,
Yeah,
everybody can mark.
Leonard's already
Everybody
kitted
can.
up.
Everybody can mark off the 15 gold, and you are fully kitted with everything that you would need to climb.
How much for also the parchment paper and something to write with?
Parchment paper. Excuse me. It's of moderate quality. So, are you looking for parchment paper that would be of spell quality?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would the parchment that I took from the shack serve you?
Yes. That would be of quality. The
So
parchment and ink of spell quality is about 50 gold. But the stuff actually that Harkus found is of that quality, 50 gold.
Okay.
50 gold quality.
So I will give that to him.
Okay.
Thank you. Now I'll hand over my 15 as well.
Okay.
I'll say, can I get one of those as well? And I'll point over at the grappling hook.
That was included.
It was included. Okay.
Yep. You have a grappling hook. So each of you have crampons, you have pythons, you have 2 lengths of climbing rope, you've got a hammer that is suitable for driving into the ice, and you have grappling hook.
So who's going to walk over to him and slap down 100 gold and say, "You had me at Yeti"?
So, I noticed
his eyes get really wide, and he's like, "Are you wishing to hunt the beast? We have some people that have tried to hunt the beast and have seen it, but you all are apparently Yeti killers. So I'll tell you this."
I roar again.
He sort of shudders a little bit and says, "You seem well equipped and armed. I don't think I have any weapons better than what you have, but I will gladly lead you."
So I notice a pile of baskets in the corner, and then I exclaim loudly to my party members, "These are very interesting. I think you should come over here and take a look at this." And I'll assume, let's see, that maybe they're way off here in sort of a corner.
Okay.
I want to have a little conference right quick.
Oh, so you're like pulling everybody aside.
Yeah.
All right. They sort of take the hint, and the 2 shopkeepers kind of walk off. And there's a couple other people that are still milling around in the outfitters, so they just kind of move over in that direction. Leonard is still outside.
Okay. So I know we can pay for this, his expertise, but as someone said earlier, how hard can it really be? Plus, do we want somebody breathing down our necks telling us every step we need to take? Because what if we see something interesting and we want to go explore it? This chucklehead is going to give us all the grief in the world that it's not safe. We're going to fall off the side of the mountain. Do we want that?
Coming from someone who's like fallen off the side of a mountain, I'm all for that.
Yeah, as someone who just died.
Yeah.
And as
I'm
far
just
as
saying,
I'm concerned,
don't
if he
go
did
that
just,
way. It's not safe.
Maybe we do. Maybe we do. I just wanted us to have a little bit of a discussion.
if we decide we don't need him, we just send him back.
Or off the side of the mountain.
Or off the side of the mountain.
We could just stop paying him. You're
That's
right.
what we
He would
do.
And I take
ostensibly
my
just
gold
leave.
Oh
back.
no, we're out of money. See how
Yeah.
quick he goes.
In
Pretty
his
quick, I
voice,
bet.
I just mimic him and say, I don't want to hear a word about running up the bill. In
And he
undertones.
goes, bye-bye.
Everybody roll. Never mind.
Roll whisper.
Yeah, everybody roll wisdom. I'm just kidding. He's actually a gold dragon. As you push him off the cliff, wings sprout from his side. He turns and unleashes a breath weapon upon you.
My God, where'd he
Point
go?
to the robot.
He disappeared. Oh, there he is.
They sort of walk back over Jareth, and he says, well, I suppose we set out in the morning then, eh? No sense in heading out.
I have a proposal for you.
It is dark in the city. He says, night is falling. It's evening time, so I'm all ears.
I will give you another 100 gold up front
200 gold up front.
if we reduce the waiting rate to 35 gold per day from 50.
Deal. May the weather hold, and we'll get you up the mountain as quick as be. I will warn you one thing. Very few have ever summited to the absolute peak of the mountain. I will get you as far as I feel comfortable taking a party. If you choose to summit the final peak, that is on you.
I have you for 4 days.
I will take you to the summit of the mountain. As far as I can take.
Very well.
He says, he sort of turns in and says, be it less than 4 days, and you shall pay only what you owe.
Deal.
And he takes the gold and he actually passes it back to you. And he says, I trust you, good sir. You put down the money up front and showed me that you have it. I'll make that deal with you. 35 gold a day. And we will summit as quickly as possible.
Well met.
So I believe that he won't try to like extend this.
Roll
Like based
insight.
on his previous statement, also based on the fact that he said as quickly as possible.
Roll insight. He might.
He might.
Okay, it's evening time. What are you guys doing? I assume trying to find provisions, or are you going to the bar? It's not quite nighttime yet. Heading to the inns, or what?
Tavern might be nice.
Always.
Okay.
Mhm.
You step out onto the streets of Caer Konig, and it is again cold out there. Mountain wind is howling off of Kelvin's Cairn, and you find yourself walking along. It is dark, and the town is relatively quiet. There's a few bundled up people shuffling around between battered snow-battered houses, keeping their heads down, barely bothering to give you a look as you sort of walk past them. And a pile of snow stirs as you pass it, looking for the tavern. And someone is hidden beneath it, suddenly stands up, like jumps to his feet. This pile of snow. And the figure looks around and yells, "Who goes there? Is it thieves? Have I found those creeping bastards?"
I just point at him and say, Snowman.
Mm-hmm.
And he sort of laughs a little bit. He pulls down his scarf, and you can see that he is a dragonborn person with silver skin or silver scales covering his face. And he's holding on to an empty wine bottle as if it is a weapon. And he's wearing what looks like armor. And then he belches all of a sudden just at you and grins and says, "Pardon my manners. Bit jittery with all the thieving going on. My name's Trovis." And he burps again and he goes, "I'm the town speaker."
Of course you are.
He looks at, do you say that?
Yes.
He looks over and he goes, No, really, I am. Trovis the famous, you've heard of me, right? Nobody knows the northern parts better than Trovis. And he takes a swig of the wine, but it's empty. And he looks at it and he goes, "Oh, damn. Back to the sinker, I suppose." And he looks over and he says, "Yes, the staves. I thought you was these invisible ones. Town's had some thievery troubles. Nobody's seen anything, really. Just the other night, the lantern over at the Northern Light was stolen. And Corey, she won't let me hear the end of it, because I haven't been able to find those peoples that was responsible for it. Not anyways, yet." And he burps again. He says, "I have a knack for this kind of thing. But all kind of random things been going missing. Strangely enough, it's mostly old, bejeweled things made out of crystalline things. Like the light. Why anybody would want it, I don't know." He says, "Well, come on. We've got to go get something to drink." And he leads you over to the hook, line, and sinker. And I don't know if I have a... Let's see here. Yeah, okay, we do. And you make your way into the hook, line, and sinker. That is not doing it. There we go. As you enter, bar with this dragonborn individual. Turn down the music just a bit. Sorry. There's people milling about. You're on the outside. Let me see if I actually have a token for Trovis, who's with you. His name is PRO US Trovis. Do you have him?
Just as a
Yes, we do. We
reference,
have Trovis.
I'm missing my mummy as well.
Yeah, he's with you.
Okay.
The question is, what have you actually? This is a good question. What have you done with the mummy?
I've actually wrapped those ratty blankets around him to a little better disguise the fact that he's a mummy.
Yeah, I need to role play this out. Like, what have you done with the mummy walking
This
into
is my
town?
Uncle Bernie.
Yeah.
Okay, are you bringing the mummy into the bar?
No, I feel like I'm going to just let him
Or did you tell the mummy to just stand outside of town?
Yeah, he's basically just standing.
Is he on like the outskirts of town, just standing there?
Yeah, just hanging out.
You just left the mummy standing outside of town. Okay, good to know.
He'll be all right.
Because I needed to know if like you walked with the undead mummy into Frozen Far's expeditions. And if you
got
did,
a little cardboard sign that says "We'll fight for food."
Yeah. All right. So the mummy's not with you. He's standing outside of town. I should have had that ahead of time. Trovis leads you in to the bar here and says, "Well, come on. In we go." And as you enter, there is a half-elf man who greets you all and says, "Welcome, strangers, to the hook, line, and sinker." And he looks over at all of you, and as you walk in, he presses a pint into each of your hands. Just like he grabs them off of a giant tray and just starts going, and he goes, "Free pint for all of you."
Don't have to tell me twice.
Sweet.
Thank you, good
Yep.
sir.
He presses one into the hands of each person and compels you to sit down. He says, everyone sit. And you have a pint. Where's everybody sitting at?
I'll post up at this table right here.
Trovis, the Dragonborn man, is with you as you all make your way in. Ordella too. Yatara as well. You're all in there, and he looks over at you all and he says, it's a darn shame. Invisible thieves skulking around town, stealing everything. Gory won't let me hear the end of it, because I haven't found them. They stole the lantern at the Northern Light Inn. And as you're drinking, he explains, it's a famous magical light that they had on the outside of the inn. It's like what the inn is named after, the Northern Light. And I swear to you, we've seen the footprints, so we knows what they are. And I tell you, they're dwarf footprints. I think the dwarves out of the valley are getting desperate because it's so cold. And they're coming into town sneaky-like and taking things.
Oh, because on the map, there's a dwarven valley.
Yeah, the dwarves of the valley. They're sneaking into town, I think. You all finished your pints, and it was delicious and amazing. And old Glenn comes around and he says, who's up for a second round? Everybody, you need a second round, don't you? Master Dwarf, you need a second round. And he looks at you, grin at guts, and is like, second round, right?
Sure, I'll take one more.
Aye. And he passes you around, and he goes over to you two. He goes, you need another round, right? Come on. It's a party.
I'll just pat him on the shoulder and says, somebody needs to keep their wits about them. And I'll say, you drink. I'm fine.
No.
This round's on me, and I'll pass over the gold for the full round.
It's expensive. Like, it's overly expensive, but it was so good the first round. In fact, everybody roll Constitution saves.
Uh-oh. See, I figured there was a trick. I was like, there's some reason he's offering a second round.
Okay.
He said Constitution save.
Okay. Harkus and Ordella, you're the only ones that aren't just overcome with the desire for another round.
Orcs.
Toot, you I'm not going to take character agency away from you, Toot. You managed to sort of hold off on it, but everybody else is just like desires a second round. And since you have offered to buy it, Ordella, do you refuse it? You're not overcome, and Harkus, you're not overcome, but it's offered to you.
I pass.
You pass. And it's not toxic or anything, but Trovis looks over at all of you and says, you found the namesake of the bar, I see. The hook, and this is the line.
Where's the sinker?
He goes, that would be last call of the night.
Oh.
They call it the sinker because, well, if you've been drinking here long enough, you sunk. And the night goes on, and you're able to drink. Everybody desires several more rounds, and you've run up quite the bar tab. But as Glenn Core is his name, comes over and he's like, all right, now time to be settling up into the night. Last call, the sinker, as it were. As you run up quite the tab. Couple hundred gold, I would say.
Ew.
I'll look over at him and say, I'll trade with you.
Aye?
Yeah. If I can make you laugh. If I can make you laugh, you knock at least, I don't know, 150 off that couple hundred gold.
He laughs right there at that
Oh,
and says,
and you in.
"You know what makes me laugh? Money."
I throw up.
He laughs and says, all right, half off. And the Dragonborn man Trovus looks over at all of you and he looks over and says, Glenn, these are my boys and ladies. They're with me. They be drinking on the town's tab. And Trovus looks over at all of you and he says, I'll tell you what. I'll put all of your drinking and your rooms for tonight on the city budget, on the town budget. If you just help me figure out these invisible thieves. And if you can find the lantern that went missing, you'd stay and you drink for free. And then he looks at all of you and he sort of scratches his chin a little bit. He says, now wait a minute. I'd be knowing you all. Yeah. He looks over at you and he goes, you're Toot. You all are the ones that got the beer back to Goodmead. Oh, heavens be blessed. You're just the people for this. Indeed, it's settled then. You'll help me figure out the invisible thieves that be stealing things. And then Corey will quit bitching at me. And all will be happy with the world. I'll make sure you're drinking and staying for free. Deals?
I can get behind that. That sounds like a
Seems reasonable.
Wonderful. Well, come on. I'll take you over to the Northern Light where I can secure you some rooms. And he leads you out of the bar. And takes you over to a quieter place. Let's see if I can find a evening time approaches, and he takes you over to the Northern Light Inn. On the outside of the Northern Light Inn, it got its name from a magical lantern that once hung above it. Trovus points it out and he says, I see. The lantern was stolen, taken. Somebody, invisible bastards. They've been seeing their footprints. He says, well, Allie and Corey, they're nice, but, And he leads you into the inn. There's a few people that are sitting around having what looks like dinner provisions inside of the inn. And a younger woman approaches and she says, Trovus, what are you bringing in here now? And he says, Ali. He says, you've heard of these people. This is the famous Toots crew. They're the ones that be restoring the mead to good mead, and I hear they got rid of the monster of Mare Dwelled one too. The inn is mostly empty, and Allie actually looks over at Torvus and she says, did you fall asleep outside again? I'm telling you, Trovus, one of these days you're going to have to stop relying on the kindness of strangers. And she calls over her shoulder and she says, Corey, heat up something for Trovus and his companions. He's been out, and she says, patrolling again. And they put on some food for you. The door to the kitchen swings open, or behind the bar, there is a stern-looking woman who enters holding a bowl of steaming soup and places down soup in front of all of you at one of the tables. And Trovus looks over and he goes, thank you, Corey. And she sort of says, and Trovus, actually, as she sits down in the soup, he says, so, like I say it's the dwarves of the Vale that's been doing this. And the older woman, Corey, as he says that, says, No dwarf did this. Dwarves. Somebody would have spotted him. Caught him. No, there's something more going on. Besides, what do hungry dwarves need with a lantern anyways? And they offer you some food. She says, as you're eating, Corey looks over and says, there be tracks leading out of town periodically. I've tried to follow them, but I'm not much of a tracker, as it were. But I could show you. And you all are given food and such. Trovis looks over at all of you and says, well, anything that you all could do to help find what be missing. And if you're able to do so, as I said, rooms on the city. And Corey sort of looks over at Trovis and sort of sneers a little bit at him. And I have been monologuing way too much now. And talking between NPCs, which is the most awkward thing possible. What all do you guys do as you're here in the inn? She looks over at you and says, rooms will be provided for you. Eat up your soup now. And I suppose you're all over at a table. This is Corey.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just put you all at a table here. We'll put you all over there.
Yeah, I think I'm perfectly willing to try to track down these invisible creatures.
Do you explain to Trovis that you have an expedition in the morning, that you're leaving out, or that you'll do this when you return, or you'll try to do it at the same time? Or
no, I just figure we'll sort it out eventually.
It'll sort itself out. Okay.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, we've got a tab for a night that we need to settle. Best case scenario, we find the invisible people on the mountain, and 2 birds, 1 stone.
There you go. All right. You guys have soup for the rest of the night, and rooms are offered to you all. Trovis bids you all good night and says he's going to go out patrolling further, looking for the source of the invisible people that have been taking things randomly from the city. And he heads out. Allie looks over at you all and says, Trovis, he's he's not lying when he says that he knows the northern parts like no one else. He was an adventurer once. The drink has taken his mind, but almost nobody knows these parts like he does. If
I should ask him about the underground city.
He is just outside the door. Are you
gonna
grab him?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that while I feel like I'm finally picking up on a hint that has been dropped like 6 times. Oh, nobody knows this area more than this one dude who's walking away. It finally clicks. We've got stuff we want to know about the North.
As you stop him, what do you say exactly?
So I'm just gonna walk through sort of what we know that we've heard tell of an ancient like abandoned city under the ice, and if he's heard any tales of anything like that, or if it's just a fairy tale.
He says he doesn't know anything about that, but he says he knows about the North, but he doesn't know about the North like about the glacier as well as the rest of the North. But he says to you, well, the glacier is named the Reged Glacier after the barbarians that live there, the tribes. If there be anything hidden there, the tribal people would be the ones to know. I can direct you how to find the tribal folk, and if anybody knows anything about what would be hidden, it would be, I suppose, them.
Yeah. So I'll gladly avail ourselves of that knowledge. But while I've still got him, I want to ask about.
Are you having this conversation like out in the open, in the bar, or in the?
Like I think I just caught him as he's like outside the door.
Yeah, in fact, what he says is, if you're looking for something hidden in the Icewind Dale, you should talk to the ragged nomads. They know every inch of this land. The tricky part is finding them, but he says, but the way to find them would be to follow the reindeer herds. That's how they migrate. Follow the reindeer herds. And with that, he sort of bids you goodnight and says, I'm off to patrol. There is a person in the bar whose ears sort of peak up as you said hidden city, or as you sort of mentioned that. And they actually look over at you. Just a common looking person, and introduces himself. He says, I'm sorry, sir, I've never seen your kind before, but I may know something.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to know anything.
He says, listen, did you hear what happened to that evil wizard in East Haven?
No, we haven't been to East Haven in a while.
They tied him to a stake and lit him on fire. Why? I'll tell you why. Because he hired some people to help him find a buried tower. Some sort of ancient tower thing that he found. And then he killed him to keep its location secret. He says, well, my cousin was one of those people that he murdered. He told me where it is. I know where that tower be. But I tell you what, I ain't going there.
Would you be willing to tell us where it is?
What would that information be worth to you?
Oh, I don't know, like 50 gold?
Roll persuasion. And I'll tell you, you do remember a evil wizard that was burned to the stake. You witnessed the burn.
Oh, that was the guy right when we came into town, or the night after we came into town.
Yep, you witnessed the burning happen. And in fact, you, Yatara, recognized that his robes were that of the Arcane Brotherhood.
No, I was rolling persuasion.
You're rolling persuasion.
Oh, my persuasion's a +0, so make that a 5.
Okay. He looks over at you with a 5 persuasion roll and says, I think maybe you could do a little better than that.
Okay, 75.
He sort of looks around and says, deal. Do you have a map?
Why, yes, I do.
And you pull out the map. And
remove 75 gold.
Yep, remove 75 gold for this information from a random guy. And he says he takes the map out. You guys are over here in Caer Konig. And he grabs the map and he circles on it. In red, he says, here. In fact, I'll give you a waypoint here. Here. This is where my cousin told me before he was murdered by that evil wizard bastard. This is where he told me that he found that hidden ancient spire.
Oh, well, I'm sorry for your loss and glad that vengeance has been achieved. But thank you so much for sharing what you know.
He says, hey, gold is gold. And he got what he deserved. You know, he tried to shape change himself, made himself look like a crazed old person or something, but they recognized his limpy walk. And that's how they knew who he was. But he got what was coming to him. And he takes the gold, the 75 gold, and he sort of bids you goodnight and moves to a separate room. And I'll take you back to the bar. Evening time comes, and the night passes without much event. And it's morning time. And you're due to meet your guide over at Frozen Far's Expeditions.
Can I check my things and make sure everything is still there?
Yes. And it in fact is. As you come out in the morning, you encounter your companion from last night, Trovus, who complains, "More things stolen!" And he says, "They're always taking the same thing, it seems."
They took another lantern?
They took some crystal pieces. I don't get it. Anyways, there are some footprints around. I could show you. And indeed, there are footprints that are leading, interestingly enough, in the direction of the mountain.
Fascinating.
Huh.
It's a good thing we're heading that way.
Yeah, but will our guide want to follow footprints?
Well, you have hired him to lead you to the top of the mountain. So if the footprints go to the top of the mountain, then yes.
We had a discussion about this.
There will be no arguing.
No arguing. We're on the leash of the guide.
I guess the discussion was we'll throw him over the side of the mountain. Or just
No.
murder.
We didn't say we would. We said we could. It was just an identification of the options available, not necessarily a commitment to use them.
Okay. Morning has come, and you make your way over to Frozen Far's Expeditions, I suppose, where do you gather your mummy from the outskirts of town?
We didn't really outfit him, so
No, he's not outfitted.
It's
feel
not
like-
like he's going to be cold. We can kind of like drag him along.
He's not going to be cold.
I'm
Can he
wondering
mountain fly?
more about the spiked boots and the
Right.
pickaxe
The
thing.
ability to scale
so-
a glacier.
I feel like maybe I'm going to give him some directions to keep both decaying eyes out for the invisible thieves. And
That's
see
an
what
interesting-
kind of intel he can gather for us
while you're scaling the
on.
mountain.
And the last thing I'm going to do is give him the hunting trap that I have, and tell him that should he feel compelled to use it on one of the invisible thieves to perhaps gather more information, he should feel free to do so.
Okay. So do you give him like an outfit to hide his mumminess with?
Yes, he's wrapped up in the blankets and things like he's.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna give him-
he's got a
I'm gonna-
scarf over his face. You didn't recognize that Trovus was a dragonborn, so like his face
Yeah.
is totally covered.
Yeah.
So he's just sort of slinking about town.
Yes, and I'm going to give him the wine skin to just kind of hold on to and play the role of
Of a drunkard.
drunk, destitute sort of vagabond who is.
I love it. You have a
laying
drunk.
around.
We have a drunk mummy that's wandering around spying for invisible thieves.
And he's also well armed, remember, because he's got my sword of life stealing.
That is true, I suppose.
Should necessity require?
What
Should he
could
need
ever-
to steal some life?
What could ever go wrong with giving the mummy a life-stealing sword?
I can't think
He
of a
is
single thing.
he's He's still my mummy.
He is. He's bound to you. Okay. You meet up with your guide man, who is Atnas Swift, and Atnas leads you. Are you heading out with Atnas? That was happening.
Yes.
Mhm.
I'm ready for Yeti.
Ready for Yeti. All right.
There's a
Atnas,
bumper sticker.
are you
Not a shit.
ready for the Yeti? Atnas actually leads you back to the base camp that you previously had seen. And he sort of shakes his head as he's over here and says, well, this must have been Garrett's base camp. Onward we go, upward. The weather's permitting. I do believe that we can climb at least halfway today. And he starts the trek upwards. And I should change you from the bar scene to actually climbing music. So let's do that.
Do you have the audio track from The Price is Right on that mountain climbing game?
I do not.
It
That'd
was
be
the yodeling,
perfect.
if I remember correctly.
I love it.
I was really thinking it was going to be like the theme song to Benny Hill.
That would work too.
Ooh, that's so loud. All right. You guys managed to make your way out. It is windy and cold and just blisteringly cold. But he starts to head his way up. There's no obvious tracks or anything from the fallen party of Garrett that was previously there. As you start to make your way up, you encounter a first thing that you come across, and I need to bring him into this scene, is howling wind and blowing snow and slippery ice make the climb treacherous. Ahead, you see several mountain goats that are perched on a large rock formation, around which you must navigate. Artist looks at all of you and he says, just don't mind the goats. And he swiftly sort of grabs a pick, and he tosses a grappling hook over to the top of the mountain and grabs on and slips his crampons on, and in one swift move hauls himself up to the top of the mountain. This not mountain but rock feature. One of the goats kind of bleats at him, and he just kind of sort of pushes him out of the way and says, onward.
Suit will follow.
Okay. Make me an athletics check with your gear, Toot. Okay. Toot, you're able to haul yourself up the rock formation around the goats.
Can I kind of stand up near where the edge is so that I can kind of keep an eye on anybody if I need to cast guidance or attempt to assist them up?
Yeah, you can do that. Everybody can roll athletics checks to pull yourself up. All right. Everybody passes. As you're able to climb up over the gear. Atnas looks at you all and is sort of impressed, and the goats sort of bleat around you as he hops down around and says, this way, onward, and continues leading you on up the mountainside. You come across a snowy path that's kind of wide, leading on the edge of the mountainside. It is steep on one side, and there is still a high climb to your right as you start heading upwards. Hundreds of feet up the mountain, there's glistening white expanse of snow, And Artist looks at you all. Atlas looks at all of you and says, "Carefully now. Onward. No time to delay. We have the weather with us." As all of you make it about halfway there, Toot, roll perception really quickly. Okay. Toot, you don't hear this in time. You were the first one out. You don't hear it in time, but all of a sudden around you, the snow begins to crack. And you hear and see now above you a wall of avalanche snow starting to barrel down the mountain at all of you. Everybody roll initiative. Let me get the initiative tracker up, and everybody roll initiative. What? The reason I had Toot roll perception is because his character moved out front.
Okay.
Oh, shoot. Things were still loaded in there. I thought it was clear.
It was.
I've got 2 Toots.
I should have a 22.
Yep. And Yutara has a 7. It was not clear.
Oh.
I thought that it was, but it was not.
No, Yutara had a 7.
Yeah, I'm putting
okay.
him in there.
Okay.
I had an 18.
Okay, Ardella, you had an 8. Cadillac, you had a 18, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Leonard, you had a 13.
Yes.
Harkus 21, Cadillac 18, Yutara 7, Toot 22, Ardella 8. Leonard, I got 2 Harkuses. Harkus, what was yours?
19.
Okay. Yeah, the avalanche is coming down on you. It's acting on an initiative of its own. It's 500 feet above you, barreling down on you. What is everybody doing? Starting with Toot.
How wide does this look?
Huge.
All right, well, I guess I'm going straight for our guide. So I'll use my movement and my action to dash towards our guide. And if I think that I still need to do it, I will use my bonus action, Misty Step. And I should be able to move 90 feet.
Okay. Yeah, you can definitely dash that far, and roll insight really quick to see if you think you need to do that. Yeah, Toot, you think you might ought to do that.
All right. Do you want to place me 90 feet, or like, am I just going basically to where he is? I don't know if 90 feet is still going to have me on the map.
90 feet will get you to him,
Okay, perfect.
as he was well ahead of you. Harkus, what have you got for me?
So what I'm going to do is I have 3 packets of pixie dust left.
Yeah.
So I'm going to sprinkle one on me. And
Okay.
then I'm going to throw the other 2, one at Leonard and one at Ardella,
Okay.
just so that they sort of explode on them and they start floating as well. And then what
You're
I would,
awesome.
And then what I would like to do is try to sort of run over to where Yutara is, snatch him up, and try to float.
Okay. All right, you roll the D100 to see if you're floating.
Don't I just get to float? It gives me a flying speed.
You have to roll for it.
No, it says the recipient gains a flying speed of 30 feet. And you can hover for a minute.
Okay.
Is it a different pixie dust because the pixie dust from Storm King's Thunder was a D100 and like 70% of the time you flew and 30% of the time you fell asleep?
Oh, well, this is the pixie dust that it has in here. Unless I got
Okay.
different pixie dust.
We'll go with what you got then. Yeah, you're flying. So Ordella and Guitar, or who else did you hand it to? Ordella and who?
Oh, yeah, Leonard, since he was heavy and no one was going to be able to pick him up.
All right. So now we've got Harkus flying, Ordella is flying, and Leonard is flying.
Leonard is also flying.
And then I was going to try and grab Yatara on my way up.
Okay. Make me a strength check.
Okay. You got Warner.
10. How much do you weigh, Yatara?
Let's say 175.
Yeah, you can do it with a 10. You're able to pick him up at
Okay.
175. Yep,
And then
you
we're
got
just
him in the air.
We're just gonna go straight up.
Okay. Straight up. Cadillac Granite Guts, you're up. You did not get a pack of pixie dust as you see Harkus lift, Yatara and Ordella start to lift off, and Leonard start to lift off. Cadillac Granite Guts is the only person remaining on the ground. What does Granite Guts?
My hope was that they would come get him. I can't get everybody.
Yeah.
Well, Leonard and Ordella haven't had a turn yet.
Yeah.
Right.
I have no spells that will help me here. I have, I cannot dash to get to Toot.
I mean, Leonard and I can probably like work together to lift him because he looks pretty stout.
I don't think that the power of Sylvanas will compel an avalanche.
He's short though. He's compact.
I'm definitely going to need some help with my -1 strength modifier.
Wow. Perhaps the next
It might be easier for me to just do it on my own.
Muscle.
So what is your action, Granite Guts?
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I am going to run to my compatriots that are beginning to take flight, and I am going to turn my lance opposite way around so that the handle is up in the sky, and I am going to basically thrust it in their direction, hoping that as they begin to fly, they can grab a hold of it and maybe pull me up.
Leonard, you're up. You're starting to fly. You see Granite Guts doing this.
Yep. I'm going to, let's see, Ordella goes after me. Okay. I'm going to hold my action until her turn.
Okay.
And anticipate helping pull him up together.
Right. On initiative 10, before Ordella's turn, the avalanche started 500 feet above you. It has advanced now 300 feet.
Ooh.
And is barreling down. You notice now that it is 100 feet long, you would estimate. And it looks like it's about 30 feet deep. So you would be buried under 30 feet of snow and possibly pushed off the mountain if it hits you. Ordella, you're up.
I'm gonna be grabbing Cadillac.
You started to fly. All right.
All right.
Make me a athletics check to try to lift a Cadillac off the ground.
All right. Here's hoping. Fingers crossed. That is a no.
What you've got help.
Does she have advantage because I'm helping?
How are you helping?
Grabbing the other arm.
All right. Yeah, you have advantage.
Okay, so roll again.
Yep.
Fingers crossed. Any better?
Yep.
Slightly
13.
better.
13. How much do you weigh, Cadillac?
Will it say that anywhere on my sheet?
Yeah, if you picked it in character creation. Kelleck's
but-
now like 50 pounds.
I really doubt it's 50
He can
pounds,
fit in my pocket.
unfortunately.
It's under description.
I'm looking in the description, and it does not say.
How much would Cadillac weigh? Be honest.
Yeah, no, dwarves are dense. So I'm
But
guessing.
they're not super heavy.
But they're not tall. So I'm thinking it's gonna be over 200,
It says it's so
250
To the
maybe.
Google machine.
the Google sorcery says
Yes.
a 5e dwarf is about 150 pounds.
Oh,
See, I was gonna guess like 175.
that is a very
That's very compact.
diet conscious
Medium
dwarf.
size. Only
That's why I was thinking like 175.
All of that,
You're only 4 feet tall.
all of that adventuring clearly is good for the
All right.
gut.
Heavy bones.
Yes, you were able to lift Cadillac Granite Guts off the ground. Yatara, you have initiative. You think that you have the time to get one thing potentially done. Yatara's flying, right? Yes. You have time to maybe get one thing done, Yatara, before this is like on you guys.
How far? I know we're hovering, but how far are we hovering?
30 feet high. We have 30,
Exactly.
30 feet
Do
up.
we start moving?
Yes. We have
Okay.
30
Yeah.
feet.
How do you move? You just hover. I guess you have a flying speed, so.
Yeah, 30
Yeah.
feet flying speed.
And how long does it last for?
It says you can hover for 1 minute.
Okay.
Are we moving fast? Anybody else moving?
Oh no, don't go that way. Go straight up.
Straight up.
If you go that way.
I was going toward 2. Okay.
No, if you go up, you're going to get swallowed. Or if you go sideways, you're going to get swallowed by the avalanche.
Okay.
Straight up.
Straight up. Okay.
All right, straight up you go. Yatara, do you do anything before this comes?
Well, I guess I'll ask. It sounds like it's coming down on us pretty quickly, so we should be able to clear it after 1 minute.
Yes.
Okay. Then I'm just going to hold on for dear life.
Okay. And up you go, and on initiative 0, it advances another 300 feet, and the entire area where you all were standing is just completely buried now under 30 feet of snow as you see this massive avalanche just roll by you, knocking huge boulders and everything else off the side of the mountain. You see Toot standing next to the mountain guide, Atnas, who looks over at you all and looks at you, Toot, who appeared next to him, and he sort of gives a very impressed nod at you all and says, "Well, that was certainly something. I suppose you all are cut out for this after all."
I high five him.
He awkwardly takes the high five and says, he shouts up to the flying crew with Cadillac Granite Guts holding onto a spear hovering like 30 feet up with his like legs are dangling below, and he's being held on by both Leonard and Ordella, who are both like together holding the spear. And you got Harkus, who's lifting Leonard, who's holding on to the spear. So we got Harkus holding Leonard, who's holding the spear.
No, I've got Yatara.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Leonard
Yatara.
Yeah, Leonard has his own. Since he was heavier,
Short-term flying.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Yatara's holding onto the leg of Harkus or something for dear life, and a minute passes, and you're all able to settle down on the ground that is now covered in new snow. And Atnas looks over at all of you and shouts, "Well, glad you're all alive. Good job. Onward. We need to make second camp." And he proceeds onward up the mountain.
and as I walk over there, I'm just going to take a moment to sort of relive what a sort of glorious victory that was over the avalanche.
Oh, that was beautiful. You all would have totally been dead. This is beautiful. That was beautiful. You pass onward and up the mountainside and continue onward. Eventually, you're coming across sort of very rocky, very, very slippery terrain. You reach a steep snow-covered incline dotted with jagged rocks. Lying face down in the snow, you see what looks like the body of a humanoid next to the rocks there. What's everyone doing?
I'm just going to sort of look at everybody and start moving over there toward it, as that seems to.
Yeah. As Atnas sort of moves along with you and approaches, the area is very slippery. So he advises you all to put your crampons on and get your ropes out and your picks out. And he approaches and looks down at the snow. And there you see a very handsome man who appears to be wearing blood-stained winter clothing. And Atnas takes off his cap and holds it against his chest. And he turns to you and says, "It be Garrett Vlaren." And he holds his hand up to his neck and he looks over at you all and he says, "Dead. He didn't make it."
Like super dead? Like, are you thinking if somebody had come here 2 weeks ago, he might still be alive?
roll medicine, Leonard. Leonard's not sure. He's dead. Is anybody else investigating the body?
Yeah, I will.
Roll medicine. 10 is all you needed. Yeah, he was definitely alive on the side of this mountain for a while, and then seems to have succumbed to some wounds on him. They appear to be like claw marks. But definitely dead. But you can judge that yes, he was definitely alive if somebody had made their way to the mountain in a more timely fashion. He might be
just asking for no particular reason.
Harkus can with that medicine check can tell, yeah, if you'd gotten here earlier, based on Harkus's medicine check, he died only a day or so ago. The body hasn't been dead that long. It's still got a little It's still got a little bit of warmth to it.
Can I search the body and see if there's any personal effects we can take back to his husband should we pass that way?
Yeah, there certainly is. As you search him, there is a like a necklace with a amulet on it that has some inscriptions on it. It's like a rosary or something like that to his deity. Is the most personal effect item. There's some climbing gear and clothing. There's a climbing kit.
Can I just scoop some snow and sort of bury the body under some snow?
Yeah. As you grab that all, Atnas looks at you all and says, "Well, that's right. We can't recover the body from here. If we try to recover his body, we'll join him. Alas, unfortunately, at this point, we have to keep moving until we can make camp." And that's the body of the person that's dead. I'm not moving him. Atlas, he leads you onwards and upwards. Eventually, you finally come upon a frosty, frozen plain. You reach a steep, snow-covered incline dotted with jagged rocks. It is just rugged, and you can see that there is just a huge ice wall ahead that would be required to climb and zigzag up this cliff space. Atnas looks at all of you and says, "We make camp here, and we wait for better weather before heading higher. It's getting late in the day, and there's no sense in trying to climb the walls of ice in the dark.
I start circling like a dog, casting tiny hut around us.
Okay. And tiny hut is casted. And I think it is 10:35 as you've cast tiny hut on the side of the mountain. We will pick it up here next week as you guys are taking refuge in the tiniest of huts on the side of a mountain where you just found the mauled dead body of Garrett Blaren. Sorry, no combat, but I think you've learned some things, you've explored some things, you found a new place. I had no idea where you guys were going to wind up going, but here we are.
We got to fly over an avalanche. That counts as a win.
I hope you guys had fun, and we'll pick it up next week with you on the side of the mountain. Congratulations on avoiding the avalanche of death.
Yeah, that would have been a heck of a way to go.
Yeah.
That would have been.
Avoiding it this time. Next week, we'll see.
Right.
Next week, indeed,
There'll
we
be
will.
Yetis in an avalanche.
Next week, indeed, we will see. There'll be Yetis in an avalanche. That's right, maybe. You have heard about Yetis. You've seen claw marks. You've encountered a Yeti
Carrying
before.
chainsaws.
That's right, because you had delivered the frozen iron ingots to Black Iron's blades that had been stolen by the goblins after the party of dwarves that was delivering them were attacked by a Yeti. You guys have gathered quite the reputation for dealing with the problems of the 10 towns as you're figuring out the big mystery of what's going on here. Until we pick it up next week on Icewind, Rime, and the Frostmaiden on the side of Kelvin's Cairn. Good night, everybody.
We do have a new name tag, though. Yeah, YouTube's pushing out a lot of new features and reforms and stuff. So yeah,
creator handles.
Yeah, we are now at Dungeons Deep.
Right.
Ooh.
Fancy.
All right, y'all.
So I will admit, I did sort of have the idea that is a very gettable name, and so maybe somebody who's bigger and has deeper pockets will pay us for it at some time in the future.
That sounds
that's
fantastic.
the reason. That's one of the reasons we're not at the Dungeons Deep.
Yeah,
or 2 Dungeons Deep.
There's nothing wrong with being a digital squatter.
So we're basically squatters that are like, maybe we'll get paid for this someday.
Well, money's money.
Well,
right.
I do think it's a better handle.
Plan for the future.
Can we hop on at
so
Microsoft or at
So
Apple?
either way, I didn't think about that. Should have.
It's kind of like that guy Mike Rowe.
I think, yeah, he had a software.
All right. I'm reining it in, and so we can actually play the game.
I would have bought stuff from Microsoft. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, let's play.
Yeah, there was a guy named Mike, and his last name was Rowe, and he owned a software company, and he called it Mike Rose Soft.
See, the only micro I know is the Dirty Jobs guy.
All right, y'all. It's good to have everybody back. The last time you guys were here, you had